Hello everyone, before we start today's video, I want to talk about our sponsor, Brim. No, it's Astro. Yeah, they got a new headset. They have the updated A10s, which is their entry-level headset. They got the 2.0 version, which has a few things going for it over the 1.0. First things first, it's a nice color. In case you just didn't want black, you wanted to get a little more personalized. I actually really like this color. Next, a lot more cushioning, and it's lighter. I can tell just literally by holding them. This one is much lighter, and I really like this headband, and I hope they do it on the next version, the A50s. I really like this headband. It's much more comfortable than just this kind of smaller thing in the center, kind of giving you like a pressure point on top of your head. So I really like that. Next, probably the most important thing is the improved audio quality. They're using a different driver specifically tuned for this headset so that the audio is more optimized based on how far the driver is away from your ear, which is, that's always going to be nice. And of course, it still has the same durability as the previous A10. Not that you're ever really going to be doing that to your headset. I don't know, maybe you got mad at League of Legends or something. And you're like, I'm mad. But your headset won't break, so that's pretty nice. So if you're looking to update your headset on the entry-level side of things, you can go over to astro.family/Datto, or you can just go to Astro's website, use code Datto at checkout, save yourself a little bit of cash. Link is in the description. Thanks very much, Astro, for sponsoring the video. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks. Hello, everyone. It is that time of season. Yes, that very special time, everyone's favorite, where we talk about weapon rolls. Hooray! With the addition of crafting, I figured it'd just be a better idea to give a list of rolls that I personally would craft onto a weapon, or at least ones that I would experiment with or consider. As usual, you can feel free to give your own suggestions in the comments. We're going to be pretty PvE focused. I'll try to drop some PvP suggestions if they come into play. I will also try to give some attention to enhanced versions of perks, but I am mainly going to focus on just regular rolls of guns, partly because I haven't used all the enhanced perks yet, but I'm also not envisioning every single enhanced perk being a complete game changer. Yeah, maybe some of them are, but definitely not all of them. Season 16 guns seem like a good place to start, and we will begin with Peace of Mind. I actually really like this pulse rifle, although maybe it's just been a while since I've used a high rate of fire pulse rifle. I've been using one with compulsive reloader, but I don't think that's the perk I would be picking for this gun overall. Kind of feels more like a PvP perk for me personally. First column, I'm actually looking at something like Stats for All. I'm surprised how much I've liked Stats for All, and you're going to hear me mention it in combination with One for All in this video. The reload speed bonus is pretty nice, and that is the thing that carries this perk in my eyes. If it did not have a reload bonus, I don't think I would really care. I've heard some good things about enhanced perpetual motion as well because of the added timer on the perk, but I have not personally tested it yet. Overflow isn't a bad option either. I know there's a lot of overflow lovers out there, but I prefer something that feels a bit more active. Second column, honestly, I'm only vibing Adrenaline Junkie for PvE. Vorpal Weapon on primaries is feeling more and more like a PvP perk. You really want to be using specials or heavies on bigger targets like champions. You know, sure, if you run out of ammo, then it's nice, but I'm just not into it. My primary is going to be used for killing regular ads like 95% of the time. Focused Fury on this pulse, I'm not sure about it just yet, unless you're comboing it with Overflow, because Focused Fury goes off of base magazine, not overflowed magazine. Also, if you proc Focused Fury, it'll last those 10 seconds even if you reload. It's the shot count that resets if you don't have the perk procced yet. Am I sold on that experience on this gun? Seeing as I don't have that perk roll, it's kind of hard to comment, but I loved it on the sniper, as you will see. I don't think I would like it as much on a primary. I'm not sure yet. In easier activities, it's going to be better, but the more difficult your content gets, the more difficult it will be to keep this combo rolling. I think I'd rather have a more consistent Adrenaline Junkie type experience, especially since grenade kills are not very hard to get to help bolster that. And I also don't want to have to go proc the gun by picking up ammo off the floor and running around. I just want my gun to proc perks by shooting stuff. If you want to vouch for this combo in the comments, please feel free. PvP related, I could see a world where Enhanced Harmony has some value, but you really need to play around this perk. Next up, we have Sweet Sorrow, the auto rifle. Stats for all, one for all is what I have been using and very much enjoying in PvE, absolutely not a PvP role. Tagging 3 different enemies is not difficult at all, and you get a huge amount of bonuses for 10 seconds, of which there is no cooldown at all. You just tap, 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 done. You got your buffs. Again, was not suspecting stats one for all to be as solid as it is, but because it includes a reload speed bonus, I like it. All of the other stuff on stats for all is just a bonus. And while we're looking at the gun, there isn't much else that is very enticing for me anyway in PvE. I don't think I'm into triple tap on this gun. In fact, I'm not really into triple tap on most full auto weapons. You can maybe do Demolitionist if you're into that for some sort of grenade build. I think that's fine. PvP wise, I'm thinking Killing Wind and maybe tap the trigger. None of the second column perks are super interesting to me. Again, maybe demo. I'm not a Vorpal guy though. If you are, then yeah, you know, Vorpal will do. Turnabout in PvP, that's a really specific condition to hit, and if you can hit it very often, great, but I would much rather have something that works more often. Or, you know, Vorpal weapon. Don't be fooled by something like light.gg saying the most used perk combo is Perpetual Motion Turnabout, by the way. Those are the base perks on the gun at level 1 crafted. I don't know who is using Perpetual Motion Turnabout. It's not me, though. Next up, a Void Bow in Under Your Skin. I feel like Tunnel Vision has some potential on a bow. I don't think we've seen Tunnel Vision on a bow before, but of course, we got Archer's Tempo here. Very reliable perk. You can combo it with Explosive Head. You can combo it with the new perk Successful Warm-Up. If you get both of these perks enhanced, Successful Warm-Up and Archer's Tempo, the draw time can be just really, really nuts. I'm definitely going to be checking that out. I know people were looking for Archer's Tempo and Explosive on the Garden of Salvation bow. I'm personally not too invested in explosive perks for champion stunning purposes, even with the bonus damage that you get, but it's still a good choice. It's one of the most popular choices, actually. Dragonfly is also an option for those of you who are interested in Dragonfly explosions and whatnot, which I think is also fine. Probably going to experiment with that as well, especially if we have a Nightfall that has a lot of void shields. Thoughtless, the kinetic stasis sniper rifle. The name of the game here for PvE is Overflow and Firing Line. For those out of the loop, a damage strategy that people have been using is having everyone on stasis and then someone else using Supreme Wellmaker, making free stasis wells on maybe a well, a ward, silence and squall, and then all of the stasis people have Font of Might, giving them a damage boost when they pick up that well. Takes a little more effort to get this all set up, but the results are fantastic. Thoughtless being a stasis sniper gives it a leg up on other snipers for this reason, and being able to just overflow yourself into double-digit shots before a reload is a lot better than relying on something like triple tap, especially given how annoying it can be to hit crits on Vow bosses, even with Divinity on them. I would also accept rapid hit, but overflow is really what you want here. Overflow and focused fire was pretty nice in solo content, or content where you can't rely on 2 other people being nearby. I liked it much more than I thought I was going to. But if I can proc Firing Line reliably, I'm probably gonna just take that because there's no ramp up time required. Next up, we have Explosive Personality, the Solar Waveframe Grenade Launcher. Waveframe is making a bit of a comeback. 2 available this season. I've had a lot of people asking me about what I think about Waveframe GLs, and, you know, I don't have any significant thoughts on them. They're good. They're fine. I don't think they're game-breaking, meta-changing, anything like that. They're in the game. People like them. They're pretty good. That's about it. That's all I really got. Stats for all, one for all is here, and if you're able to consistently hit multiple targets often enough to proc this, I don't think it's the worst idea, but it's definitely not as easy compared to a primary weapon. Some people enjoy using Unrelenting on this weapon since it isn't too hard to kill a bunch of enemies in one shot compared to other weapons. But with this perk in the second column as opposed to the first, where it normally is, I'm not as high on it since you have to go with either bonus healing on Unrelenting or bonus damage with any other perk. I'd rather have the damage. Autoloading holster is never a bad choice on a grenade launcher. Could maybe combo that with Frenzy for some just easy mode perk action. Feeding Frenzy is also not the worst idea. If I'm crafting one for myself right now, it's either stats one for all or autoloading holster and Frenzy. I'll be playing with both to see what I'd like more. Turnabout, not into it. Maybe one day I'll get my video out explaining why. Finally, we have Recurrent Impact, a stasis machine gun. Machine guns, in my eyes, are still for ad clear. Again, we have stats for all, one for all as an option. Certainly not a bad one at all. It does feel like a little bit of a waste to not utilize headstone on a gun like this, though. And I do think it's an option depending on what your goals are. Obviously, in a stasis build like the one that I put on the channel a little while ago, yeah, it's kind of an easy pick. I like that the enhanced headstone perk just gives you bonus stability. They were just like, what can we do for enhanced heads? Just put stability on it. Subsistence is an idea from the first column. You can combo that with basically anything, again, assuming you're using this for ad clear. Focused Fury is an option with Subsistence, but this is a high RPM weapon, so just make sure you're hitting those crits. Otherwise, Frenzy is just going to be the easy pick. I'm never going to rule out Field Prep either, purely for the extra ammo. Just make sure you practice crouching to get that reload speed bonus. It is very noticeable. Firing Line, not too interested in this unless something comes along where machine guns are the meta, or you know the strat that you're going to be using involves everyone stacking up. That's what I got on the Season 16 weapons. Plenty more weapons to cover, and I will probably cover them. But I didn't want this video to turn out like a boring high school class where the teacher has the lights off and the projector's on, and you kind of put your head down on the desk, but you're not sleeping. What do you mean you're sending me out? I'm not sleeping. I'm sorry this topic's so boring. Maybe if it wasn't so boring, I wouldn't put my head down and look like I'm... Fine, I'll leave. I'll just go to the cafeteria. I mean, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.